was like, this year I want distance. I want separation. I want to be so far away from everyone. I want everyone to be at their best, no excuses. And I want to show people that, look, when I'm 100%, I cannot be beat. And that was the whole mindset of this year. And my whole mindset was, I never won a title in 23. I'm gonna win it. I'm gonna win it. I'm gonna win my first title this year in 24. That was just my mindset. And so I was chasing myself. I was chasing Keon in 23.
Hey everybody, welcome to It's Just Bodybuilding. Big Ron Partlow here with Dusty Hanshaw and the producer Scott McNally. And of course, we've got two-time 212 Olympia champ, Keon. What's going on, man?
What's going on, man? Nothing much to it. How you guys doing?
Doing excellent. So where exactly are you now?
I'm in Las Vegas.
Yeah, okay, Vegas. So you're living there, right?
Yeah, I live here. I've been here for about 2 years now, so it's been a cool place to stay at, especially for bodybuilding, at least, So
yeah, I remember you were in Texas, right?
Yeah, I was in Texas. I was in Allen, Texas, which is about 20 minutes from Dallas, and before Texas, I was in Georgia.
He got smart. He went to the states with no state income tax, one at a time.
Yeah, basically. I don't know what's happening here. Yeah, Dusty instantly recognizes the tax stuff. That's his first thing. Oh, I get it.
That's the first.
Yeah. So thanks for coming on, man. We've talked about you a lot on the show, and I mean, let's just get right to the physique. First of all, we mentioned on the show a little while ago that you might possibly have the best structure in the world in bodybuilding of any kind, any division. And this year, when you walked out on stage, I mean, we all saw the pictures and shit kind of coming in, and we all knew what you did last year and everything. But this year, man, you just like, I mean, how many of these do you want to win?
As many as I can, man, until I reach that weight limit. I'm so far under still. I know a lot of people want to rush me to move up the open, and that's cool and it's humbling, but realistically, health-wise, longevity-wise, it's best to take my time and put on little pounds each year. And I was only 201 on stage, so I have so much room to grow. And it's no rush. There's no rush to go to the open, because when I go to open, you guys will see why I wanted to wait, because when I go to open, it's going to be a statement.
Absolutely. And it's not like that hasn't been done now. That barrier has been busted wide open.
Yeah. And I looked up to Derek about how he transitioned to 212 to open and hottie and stuff. But, I want to win multiple titles, then, win the Mr. Olympia. And so that's something never been done. So that's something I'm shooting for. Well,
I wanted to start. You put up a post just recently. Was it your first pro classic show? And then you had your side by side. Is that, or did someone else put that up? That was like buys and tries. Somebody put up like a before and after of you at your first classic pro show.
Oh, and no, that was Arnold Classic. I'm assuming that's what it was. I don't know. Some people make so many transformations, but I think that was from the Arnold Classic. My natty days when I was working with so hopefully people can probably believe that now. But yeah, it was like my natty days back in the Arnold Classic transformation. I was probably like 174 pounds in that picture, probably.
Dang.
Yeah, that was mind-boggling. And it was funny that you mentioned the natty days, because I went to the gym that day. And, there's a lot of bodybuilders at my gym, everyone. Yeah. And when I always get, right around Olympia time, a couple weeks after the Olympia, there's a lot of people chatting about it and stuff. And I had a couple guys come up to me and they said, man, Keon was natty. Because just the weight difference made it believable. They're like, he wasn't full of shit. And I'm like, no, what do you think?
It just take time. And I don't expect people to believe that stuff. I don't care. I never really cared about talking about it. The reason why I talk about it and shoot my shit with it, because of my old coach PJ Braun. He made it super viral. Flex made it super viral. So I just went with it. And now when I do make those transformations and see them, I do talk on it, because
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Sorry, some of my call was going through. I'm good.
no worries.
You know what? Can you hit like the do not disturb on your phone?
Yeah.
That'll yeah. Thank you.
Oh, that little thumbs up I gave him popped up. He got a bubble. That was cool.
That's
This
weird.
AI is freaking me out.
I think it's on an iPhone does that. Thank you for tuning in. And if we are providing value to you today, let me encourage you to subscribe and hit the bell. We have several bodybuilding podcasts that come out each week.
Cool.
So one of the things that I wanted to bring up early and just hear what you have to say about it. And you know, we said it too. I think a lot of people said it, and now that we see what you've become, it makes the conversation interesting in retrospect. And it's the fact that there were a few years there where you were the guy that had potential. And I'm wondering if that bothered the shit out of you for a while, because you felt like that was like a kind of a backhanded compliment in a way, like, oh, he's got so much potential, that sort of thing. And I mean, I don't know, did you find like another gear, or was it someone that, changed your mindset, or something happened, but you changed and you shifted. And then now we have this Keon looks like he's driving the truck. Like you're not a passenger anymore.
I mean, at first it was I was taking it as a compliment. I was like, oh shit, these legends and these people talking about me in podcasting, our potential to be a future Mr. Olympia one day, or if I come in condition or whatever, I can win it all. And it was cool at first, but after a while, when I was missing with, still winning shows, but not at my best. Yeah, it was pissing me off. But also, I can't be mad at no one but myself, because I'm in control of, what I do outside of the diet in the gym. It was more so my mental. My mental wasn't 100%. The reason why I set out the Olympia in 2020, I think it pretty much showed when I placed 14th in 21 at the Olympia. So my mind wasn't right, just where it needed to be. I didn't have the right team. I didn't have the right circle. So that's when I decided to move to Texas to be around more bodybuilders, which I was. I'm not with Gasp. I was with Gasp at the time. And I moved out there, and that's how I was training with Branch. Me and Martin Fitzwater was killing it in the gym. I used to train at Metroflex with Brian, and he was my 6 months, which was hell. So I just needed to be in that type of environment so I can really, really put the foot on the gas. And then I met my fiance, Amanda. I met her in 22. That's where I placed 6th at the Olympia. We started talking about, I was probably like 16 weeks out from the Olympia in 22. And she was like, you can win this shit. Like, you have so much fucking potential and you can do this, but you got to believe in yourself. And, having someone actually care about you and believe in you, I think that would switch my mindset. And then from there, I kept the foot on the gas and I did the work. And then after 22 Olympia, she actually became my trainer. And she trained me every single day ever since, and we never missed a session. And she helped me a lot with my mental and just believing myself. And ever since then, the rest is history. And it feels good to finally be living out my potential, not hearing that no more, It really pissed me off and it really rubbed me the wrong way. And I just really use it as fuel. And now I think a lot of people that doubted me or called me potential, I think now they actually see that I'm living it and I'm doing it and I'm only going to get better.
That's cool.
So she's training you in the gym every day, the workouts.
You do my programming.
Yeah. And then you work with Patrick, right, for the nutrition?
Yeah, Patrick does my nutrition. Amanda does my training. And how the training started was, obviously she's a female. And so that didn't bother me. She has more experience in the gym than me. And she's been around a lot more bigger guys than I have, because she used to be a power lifter back then. So she's been around longer than me in the fitness industry. So I trusted her. And I remember she looked at me. She was like, you ain't got no ass. I didn't really have glutes, like 22, I looked 0 glutes, have no hamstrings. She was like, we got to do a lot of hip thrusting and a lot of leg work, a lot of leg development. I was like, okay. She put me on a freaking hip thrust. I couldn't even do it to save my life. 1 plate felt like 10 plates. It was terrible. This was right after 22 Post-Olympia. And then from there, she started programming my training. She started pushing me. I learned a lot of how to slow things down versus start, rushing it. I used to train like the Brent Warren style, super, intense. I just tried to get the set over with, but also I like to exhaust myself so much to where I couldn't even recover. She switched all up, and that was probably the hardest switch up as far as training style, going from that for so long to slow, eccentric, and focus on the squeeze. And I just had to be open to criticism, and she helped me tremendously. And like I said, ever since then, she programmed my training. Every health phase, we always incorporate new movements, and we just work on the form. And then once I get in the off season, we just go full throttle. So that's pretty much what we're doing right now.
So we've got both Olympia champs now. Their wives, so to speak, are really in the circle, tight, like helping to run the game. And that's kind of interesting because some people think it's all about. I know there's a trend right now that it's all about the math equation and the spreadsheet, but when you and Samson have your wives right in there helping, it almost tells me that it's not about that. It's about reading the intimate mindset stuff, and you know what I mean? The really feeling how you're doing and on a day-to-day and that sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the difference. I mean, Amanda's with me every single day. Patrick is not. So it's hard for him to do my training. I can send him a check picture, and he's like, fuck. And Amanda see me in person, totally different. So like we're a team at the end of the day, and he get her feedback and stuff like that. It's a team effort. Like I said, she see me every single day, so it's just different. So, yeah.
Can you give us an example of something that you definitely wouldn't have done that she had you do during the prep?
Like, far as training wise?
Yeah.
Like training glutes.
Yeah.
Oh, it did. Just that since last year.
Well, we started training glutes in 22, but I never trained glutes or so let people know that when you never trained a muscle before and you actually start training it, I feel like it will respond, it will grow. I was never really training hamstrings. So I think maybe that's why my hamstrings are probably one of the best now, is because I started training hamstrings in 22.
You were on the Olympia stage and not training hamstrings, for the record. For those who want a little slap in the face, I want you to say that back to yourself.
Saving that for the next gear, Save that for the next gear.
I would do a full leg day, but I would hit like just a leg curl, like a lying or a hamstring curl, but I don't think it was enough to actually make it grow. And that's always had my leg days. Even when I trained with Brian at Metroflex for 6 months, me and Martin trained with him on leg days. Only hamstring exercise we did was lying curls and standing curls. That was it. But we did like 5 quad movements, and that was my leg day. So I wasn't really putting emphasis on my hamstrings.
Right.
And you have a big hinge movement in there? Are you doing stiff leg deadlifts and stretch stuff?
Yeah. I do a lot of stiff deadlifts, a lot of machine work, just your basic stuff, honestly. What everybody's doing is what I do. I just haven't done it before, and that is long.
That's crazy.
Just wait till he starts training back.
Yeah.
Just wait. He's got a hammer row lined up.
That's classic. So what is obviously, everyone is amped and excited to see what you're going to do next. But I'm curious, as a fan who's been around for a long time, how do you approach your post-Olympia? Like a big thing back in the day, Ronnie Coleman used to get done with a tour and just not train for 3 months. And, a lot of guys had different approaches. What do you do?
For me, post-Olympia, my training is slowed down. So basically my training is like peak week. I'm just there getting a pump at this point. I know in most years, when you got all the post-show food, you just want to go in the gym and just pound that shit. You feel your strongest, but I feel like also with you still being low body fat, that's still a way to get hurt because your body's not used to. It's not going to be used to that type of training when you just jump the gun post-show, especially for me, because usually the last 2 weeks of the Olympia, my training is not as intense. It's more, we just focus on the condition aspect. We're not going to get no bigger. We're not going to grow. So for me, it's training is like 40%. It's very tough. Man, I'm making sure that I don't go to failure on my sets. Honestly, sometimes I don't even break a fucking sweat in the gym. That's how I'm training right now because we're just trying to recover. I keep my cardio in 30 minutes. As far as diet wise, Patrick usually send me a diet within like the next 3 days post show, and I go straight back to diet. We incorporate a lot of fruits, a lot of veggies, a lot of nutrients that we wasn't getting during my prep, and we just incorporate those a lot. So that's pretty much how I approach my post show, and plus a lot of traveling, which I'm about to actually start traveling the next couple of weeks.
Okay. How do you feel about things now? You've had a little bit of time to kind of let this settle in. I know that going into this Olympia, I'd heard you say stuff like, my goal is to prove to them that this isn't just a one-time thing, but that said, you hadn't proved it yet. Now that you're here, how are you feeling about everything, standing where you stand?
I feel great. I manifested. I knew after 23, I knew it wasn't my best. We did what we could. And to be honest, to be, pretty transparent, after I won the Olympia in 23, I still wasn't satisfied. I still felt like I could have been even better. I hated that it was close, so we went straight back to work, and I was pretty pissed off, and I just really used it as fuel. And I was like, this year I want distance. I want separation. I want to be so far away from everyone. I want everyone to be at their best, no excuses. And I want to show people that, look, when I'm 100%, I cannot be beat. And that was the whole mindset of this year. And my whole mindset was, I never won a title in 23. I'm going to win it. I'm going to win it. I'm going to win my first title this year in 24. That was just my mindset. And so I was chasing myself. I was chasing Keon in 23. The goal was to murder him and just annihilate him. And I felt like that's what I did this year. So that's pretty much my mindset going up to this whole entire year.
I love that. Seems like that's the successful way. I mean, Dorian used to say that back in the day, that he never thought about anyone else because he knew if he beat his previous best, it was going to win again. So just focus on the champ, which was him. And if I can beat the champ, aka myself, then I'm still the champ. So that makes a ton of sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It's like a savage football sort of mentality, like, just ruthless. I used to say, like, in retrospect, I think it was like crazy shit to myself. But at the time, it works. Like, it gets you, you know what I mean? Some of the stuff you say to yourself when you're prepping for a show, like, it sounds ridiculous maybe afterwards when you're done competing, but at the time you're like, man, that really got me in the headspace.
Yeah, man. I had to find somebody to chase. Like, okay, well, I won last year. I can't say I'm chasing Sean, so I'm just chasing Keon. So that's what we did.
What does Patrick say? Like, how do you describe Patrick as a prep coach, when it comes to like, the check-ins and how you guys communicate and all that sort of stuff?
I always like to say he's like a sergeant. He's very transparent. He don't sugarcoat shit. When I first started working with Patrick, because when I was trying to find me a coach, I was like, I need a coach that can just like that just mean fucking business, not someone that just blows smoke up in your ass and you look great every check-in. I felt like I experienced that a lot in the past, and I was tired of it. And so when I sent my first check-in to Patrick, all he did was he sent me a thumbs up. I was like, shit. Okay. Next week I sent check-in, thumbs up. I was like, okay, this is where I'm getting myself into now. I was like, this man don't fucking play. He ain't blowing smoke in my ass. Thumbs up, just telling me I'm on track. Had to learn.
He's not even sending you a no changes.
No. That's pretty much what that means. No changes. You good. Keep on going. I'm not going to blow smoke up your fucking ass because you're Keon. That's pretty much what I took it as. I was like, okay. And then eventually it took him probably like almost 2 months for him to actually give me a compliment to say I look good. That's how he operated. I almost felt like he did it on purpose in a way. I don't know. But he's very strict to the T. He don't believe in cheat meals. We don't have like cheat meals in prep or anything like that, like burger and fries and shit like that. He's just very on it. I mean, Patrick checked with me every single day from the Olympia. From 18 weeks out, I checked in with him every single day, from calls to videos, post training, telling my weight every night before I go to bed, just all those type of things. He's very, very, very doubting with his clients, and from my experience, Patrick has been great. And shout out to Patrick, and yeah, we doing a damn thing.
How would you describe the last week coming into the show? Like, what did Keon have to do this year? Did you coast in with hardly any tweaks, or like what was the deal?
And so a lot of people always ask me, I'm glad you asked, because I always want to talk about this on the podcast. A lot of people think I eat a lot of food to load up and carb up. I don't eat jack shit. My food is so low, it's a joke. So usually mentally, I feel great because I know I'm on point physically, but like hunger wise, I'm fucking starving, because usually the last week is when I don't eat the most food. I mean, Patrick could give me 150 grams of carbs. You think I had about 600 grams of carbs. That's how my body. So very, very little protein, about 30 grams of carbs per meal here and there. That's my whole week. So, hunger wise, it sucks, but mentally and physically wise, it was a pretty super, super smooth, coasted right in. I mean, it was right where we needed to be. I mean, we was pretty much ready at about 3 weeks out. It was just pretty much the last minor tweaks, basically. But yeah, that's pretty much my last week of for the Olympia.
So you would have done nothing with water or anything like that. It would have been needed, really.
We manipulate the water towards it like the last 2 days. I was still drinking about 2 gallons a day. Yeah.
It's just simple. Just simple. Yeah, I would have guessed. I saw you, and just looking at you, man, I would have guessed you're eating, like you said, 600 grams of carbs. I wouldn't have guessed 30 here, 30 there. That's wild to me.
About like 30, 40 grams of carbs per meal leading up to the last week. So usually like the first 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is like my baseline diet, which my baseline diet is around like, I don't know, almost 200 grams of carbs. So that's what I'm like carbing up on for peak week. And Thursday, he pushed the food down a little bit more. And it's so simple. It's so simple for me, but most people don't realize it, because I guess when they see guys like us, they just think that we just eating 1,000 grams of carbs like Martin Fitzwater. Like Martin had my food, he will be
yeah.
But I mean, he needs that food for the pop. For me, I'll be fat if I ate as much food as these other guys would. I don't have that luxury.
How do you feel about? I mean, you trained with Martin for a while, so how did you feel about his amazing showing at the O?
Oh, great, man. I knew this was going to happen. I saw him in person in New York Pro next to Nick Walker, and I was pretty a freaky performance, and just, I mean, he's the future of open. I mean, he's young too. I think Martin's like 27 or something like that. But yeah, Olympia, he looked at wow. I think it was a well-deserved fourth, and he compared great with Derek and Hottie in a lot of shots. And I felt like it could have went either way if they really wanted to put Martin up higher, if I'm being honest, because I think he gave a run for a lot of people money in a lot of those shots. Most muscular, the back shots. I mean, he brought it.
What do you think of our current Mr. Olympia's performance, Samson winning the title?
I mean,
where were you? Were you in the crowd, or were you hanging out backstage, or like where were you? I don't know where you were.
I was watching it live. I had like a get together at my house here in Vegas.
Okay.
Like a little live watch party. But I thought Samson looked phenomenal. That's his best luck. I mean, we can only go by his last performance. In between that and I think the French show, he improved, and I think it was well deserved. And I think he's a great champion. I mean, honestly, for Mr. Olympia, I would love him to stay for Mr. Olympia, because besides his beautiful physique, he actually talks to people on social media. He actually posts and he take you along the ride for his days and stuff. So I think that what makes him a great Mr. Olympia. And
Right.
yeah, I think Samson well deserved it.
Is there anything that you want to do this year? Aside from the physique stuff, is there anything you want to do this year for, like, when you say how Samson is a great, representative because, his interactions and, posting and stuff, is there anything like that you want to improve on for, your representation of the sport and that sort of stuff? Like, what's your plan?
Yeah, right now my plan is I'm kind of in the works of trying to help out the 212 division right now as we speak. So right now I got some things in the works that we're working on, trying to solidify to help up the 212 prize money up and some shows. So I would like to do that. I don't think I've seen anyone done that before, so I would like to try to be the first one to do that. So just trying to be more involved, and also I would like to encourage a lot of younger athletes, especially classic, because I feel like there's a lot of future 212ers in classic and they don't even know it. So
they don't even know it.
Yeah, I don't have the structures. I'm sure if you guys seen a few classics, you can probably point out that can be a 212 guy who actually tries to grow and actually try to push it, because the weight limit sucks. So I want to encourage younger guys and people in certain divisions to move up to 212, because I don't want 212 to die down. I want 212 to be in the Arnold. I want 212, be the talk of the division leading up to it. And I feel like with me being a champion, being young, I feel like I can bring that to the division. So that's the whole goal this year. I want to actually.
What do you think? What do you think's holding back the 212 from having the popularity to be a demand for the Arnold and those kind of shows?
The athletes, man. I think it's really the athletes. I mean, we need more competitors that want to chime in the 212. Classic, so hot now. I keep going back to classic because there's so many guys with those short statures, those structures that can do 212, and they can really help the division out. So the athletes, and on top of that, me as a Mr. Olympia, I need to speak up and actually try to put things in the works, which that's the goal for this year, so I can make that movement going.
Right. Yeah. Because I mean, as a fan, it is disappointing because when 212 was banging along, I mean, specifically in the flex days,
Yeah,
I got to the point I was more looking forward to how the 212 would work out than the open, because you knew if there were 15 guys in the Olympia and the 212, there were 15 guys that were going to be in shape.
Yeah.
For the Olympia in the 212, and it made it exciting. Even though we kind of knew Flex was going to run the show for a bit, it was a lot more consistent. So it's disappointing to me that it's not getting that same respect that I feel like the athletes are earning. You know what I mean?
I agree. So yeah, that's the whole goal, man. And honestly, I would love to do some stuff with Flex Lewis. He's here, so I would love to. I actually want to talk to him about that. I want to do some stuff with him and see what we can do to help the division as well. Because having a 7-time Mr. Olympia and a 2 times, I think that would be good.
Absolutely.
Also, I have some ideas I want to put in the works, but I'm definitely going to do everything I can to try to make these happen.
So, do you do any after the show when you're kind of in this downtime? I mean, what do you do for personal life? Like, do you go out and have fun? Is it like strictly business year round? I mean, how do you kind of manage the balance between profession, training, partner, trainer, wife combo?
I mean, me and my fiance do everything together, so we pretty much train together. We go to movies, date nights, nothing special. I'm a homebody, man. I don't do much at all. Honestly, I enjoy my life watching movies, and we do bike rides or walking and stuff, walking the dog. It's really simple life stuff, but for me, it's just all I need. I'm comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do much. I'm a homebody, so yeah, that's pretty much what I usually do on my free time. Me and the fiance.
That's a perfect situation if you're a professional bodybuilder, because you can't be too far from your food and those types of things. I think it's just is being a pro and being Mr. Olympia.
Dusty gets interrupted by his dog sometimes.
Dusty's having dog issues. The funny thing is, we all love our dogs, and there's a thing about there's a bodybuilder dog thing. I don't know. It's because we are homebodies, so it makes having the dog lifestyle also work. You know what I mean? Like some people are never home; they can't have a dog. You know. And what kind of dog do you have, Keon? What was that?
Cockapoo. It's very, very tiny.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Nice.
I think the biggest he is right now is probably like 19 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
We all have small dogs.
Yeah.
I got both.
Yeah. Dusty has both now. Okay, what were you gonna ask, Dusty?
Oh, I was just going to say, is being at the top of the class and also just being a bodybuilder, is there anything that you've kind of come across that you did not expect, for better or for worse, in any aspect of your career, whether it be with the fans, with social media, with being the champ, or anything that surprised you, or is everything's kind of what you thought it would be?
Everything what I thought it would be, for sure. I mean, I came up this sport. I mean, as soon as I turned pro in 2017 and I met Flux Will in 18, I got around a lot of big names very quick, and I experienced a lot of things very fast. Companies, relationships. So it's pretty much what I expected. And all that led up to now to where I'm ready for whatever happens, whatever comes to me, I still got, the people that used to shit on me, I knew eventually they'll be on my team, cheer on me, believe in me and stuff. I figured that would happen. So mentally, I've been prepared for this. So I'm not shocked with everything that's happening right now.
How did you deal with?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Scott.
I'd been wondering. I just wanted to throw this in. You said the people that were crapping on you in the past, and I know that you really struggled with stuff like when you had pulled out of the Olympia and all that. And I'd heard you talk about that in the past. That like it bothered you to hear people that were saying like all the stuff of like, oh, he's got all the potential, but he's not following through. How did you deal with like the negativity from people? Because I know I've heard Samson talk about that. And I think he's at a point where he's like starting to get it, and he's starting to like maybe kind of keep people at arm's length enough to not let it hurt him anymore, and everybody's on your side now. Like I think of you, Keon, and I think like, oh dude, everybody loves you, and you're on top, but I know it hadn't always been that way. So how did you get through dealing with that? Because I think that's something that I don't care what level you're at, we all kind of have to deal with that negativity.
I mean, we're all human, man. Just to see those comments, it did hurt my feelings. Even people I thought that was like bodybuilding friends, to see pick jokes up on me at the time, I was like, damn. And for me, it was a very sensitive time in my life. So seeing that, it hurt. So honestly, I just had to get away from social media. I just had to be around my loved ones. I tell people, when you go through situations like that, you really got to be around people that actually care about you and love you. And everybody else don't fucking matter. So that's what I did. Just got around loved ones, my family, therapists. Shoot, I mean, back in 2020 when I shot out from the Olympia, I went down to Dragon's Lair and I trained with Flex Lewis, with him, Alex Cabanero, and John De La Rosa during my depression, just to get away. So, I had to find different ways to get away from that and just stay busy. And that's what I did. A lot of traveling.
And that's a fun crew.
Yeah. Very, very fun crew, man. That was so freaking awesome. I still have the video. I'm going to have to send it to you. Maybe you can throw it on here. But I was doing that. Brian, John De La Rosa, Flex Lewis, and Alex Cabanero just yelling at me, But just around loved ones and stuff. And I think that's the best way to help through like tough times like that, for sure. Yeah. I truly, really believe that. The social media is so toxic, man. Especially in those type of moments. It's so toxic. The best way is just get the fucking way from that stuff.
And hey, shout out to you too, man, for, I've heard you openly talk about going to therapy and getting help with that kind of stuff and depression. I think that it's important that people at your level can let the rest of us know, hey, I deal with stuff too. You deal with things, you get through it, and it kind of takes the stigma away, so that I think maybe some of your fans can get the help that they need as well,
I mean, at the end of the day, we're all human, man. We're not superhumans. Yeah, we have muscles, but we're still fucking human, you guys. We still have feelings, and it's just hard, you know. Especially sometimes being in a spotlight, you just got to know how to maneuver through things. What I mean by that, just like, you know, I try not to read negative comments. Like sometimes when I see a lot of my videos or pictures on social media, I don't even attempt to read comments. I don't want that in my head. I don't want to see anything. I just scroll, you know. So once you learn, you start to find different variables to move around and how to handle that type of stuff. You know, I know I'm in the hype, but mentally I try to stay at the hype. So I try to read up on things and stuff because I don't want that in my head. Because I know I'm gonna run across something negative. People are always gonna have something negative to say. It could be 100 positive comments, but you can have the most 3 meanest comments under there, and it could just fuck with you for the rest of the day. So my best bet is not.
That's smart. Yeah, it's always that last comment, that one negative comment that we remember, you know?
I know you have hundreds, and that one is like, damn, and then it's a fake profile, and they got
it's not even a real person.
Who went through the trouble of making a fake profile to write that on my shit, you know?
Yeah.
I wish I had that much time in the world.
I've got a list of like kind of quick like favorite stuff that I put up a question box, and I got a few this morning, just asking your favorite stuff, you know. So kind of you can rapid fire this, but I'll paraphrase a few of these. If you could only do one quad exercise for your next leg day, you do as many sets as you need to do, but you could only do one, what would you pick?
Leg extension.
Oh,
really? Out of everything,
okay.
Leg extensions. Okay.
I mean, you can do it so many ways. Full range, half motion. I mean, you can just go balls to the wall on leg extension. And I think it's just a safer thing to go balls to the wall on, if I'm being honest, versus a leg press, locking your legs out and stuff like that. So definitely leg extension.
Okay. If you have to put an album on for your next workout and listen to the whole record while you train with no skips.
Album, man, I suck at learning. I suck at albums, like knowing the name of the album.
All right.
Oh,
who do you listen to? Yeah, who would you listen to?
Yeah.
Man, I would say Linkin Park.
Okay.
There we go.
You and Drea Shaw both. She likes to throw them on her headphones as well.
Yeah. Linkin Park, Crossfade. I like all those type of people. Then I have my mood where I like Tupac and Biggie. You know,
who
so
doesn't?
Okay. Okay, I'm impressed. Good old school stuff. Who was your number one influence to become a bodybuilder?
I would say Lee Haney.
Oh,
you trained with him for a while too, didn't you?
No, Lee Haney was my mentor because I used to live in Georgia. I'm from Warner Robins, middle of Georgia, but I moved to Atlanta, and Lee Haney was my mentor, and that was one of my first shows that I did was the Lee Haney Classic. I won middleweight bodybuilding there, and yeah, me and Lee Haney just pretty much exchanged numbers, and he's been my mentor ever since. And so Lee Haney really inspired me. He's a very smart guy.
Oh, dude. You got to tell me a Lee Haney story.
To be honest, he would more so just like, he just usually just kind of like just guide me the ins and out in this sport versus like actually telling me more about himself. It was more so him just trying to help me out.
Yeah,
but
how so?
Coming up, like my idol, I would say Flex Wheeler, because that was the guy. That was the guy that took me under his wing, and honestly, he's one of the biggest reasons why I'm here where I'm at today.
How did Flex? What did he say to you? How did that come when you first met him? Like, how did that go?
Well, I remember I was trying to make weight for Tampa Pro, and I could not fucking make weight. I could not make 180 for some damn reason. So I was walking around, spitting in the cup, going to the stairmat. I did everything. I could not drop weight, and then finally I made weight. And after I competed, Flex Wheeler came up to me. It was like, "Hey, son, here's my phone number." I was like, "Whoa, that's Flex Wheeler." And he was like, "I'll text you when you get all settled down after the show." And then boom, he texted me. He was like, he texted me. He's like, "Do you have a sponsor?" I was like, "No." Like, okay. And then he came back 20 minutes later, would you like to sign with such and such? I was like, for this much? I was like, yeah. Right now, like, this is how it works. Okay. I still know nothing about bodybuilding, man. When I turned pro, I barely knew who Flex Ruler was, but I knew that he was one of the greatest, and he had this beautiful, symmetrical physique. But when he approached me, I was starstruck. I was like, shit. I was like, this is fucking insane here. And he took me on his wing, and it was the greatest experience of my life. Came to Vegas for the first time, stayed with him for about a couple of months, and did a lot of training and posing. And shout out to Flex for my posing, because my posing came from Flex, and he used to pound me with posing. If you guys knew how he posed his clients, it's insane.
What's so intense about it?
Shit. So we'll do an hour of posing. So we do 6 sets of 20 seconds holds. So 6 sets of front doubles, 6 sets of side chests. That's me trying to do a front double with a fucking vacuum for 20 seconds. If I messed up, he'll make me redo it all over again. And so after we do an hour of posing, the last 10 minutes, he'll play random R&B songs, and he'll make me freestyle pose nonstop. That's what they used to do back in the day in Goals. Him and Chris, they used to just pose random songs and just nonstop, and they all be in a posing room together. So that's what he used to have me doing in a super cold garage. It's probably 40 degrees in the garage, and we'll be posing in Vegas. And it's every single day. And we train twice a day and pose twice a day. So it was very tough, man. I mean, it was a lot of times where I cried in that posing room because I was so damn exhausted. And we would do that after my 7th meal. So I had 7 meals back then with Flex. It's basically like a keto diet. I was eating a lot of red meat and just veggies. At the zero cardio. I did no cardio for the whole entire prep. And so my cardio basically was posing. So after my 7th meal, we'll go in the garage, we'll pose, and I go to sleep. And we do it all over again the next day.
That's wild. It kind of reminds me like Ron and Dusty talk about we've talked about Widowmaker sets, the sets that make you tougher, and I feel like you've probably never been on stage that you've had to work quite as hard as Flex worked you in that garage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. And that carried with me, to this day. And I think that's why when I'm on stage posing, it looks so effortless. It looks like I'm not posing as hard as the next person am. I mean, they are. I'm posing hard. I'm just not struggling to hit a pose and make sure everything is, popping and, flexing and everything. It's just, he just buried me to the ground for so long doing it. It's just in me now.
So, yeah, you'd be on stage for, 15, 20 minutes at the Olympia, and that's nothing compared to, 45 minutes at a stretch with Flex in the old days.
Yeah. I mean, dude, after Olympia this year, I didn't have a break because I was the last person to do my individual. So after I did my individual, I did a total of 4 rounds, including in the comparison. I had no break, 0 breaks that whole entire prejudging, and I was fine. No sweating, no heavy breathing. I was good because I'm prepared for that. I've been battling and posing.
Do you still pose that hard now, or do you put yourself through the paces? I'm sure not quite at that level, but
not in that level, no. But I do practice my posing. Like when I do my check-ins, I'll do my check-ins for Patrick, and then I'll run myself through a couple of rounds and a couple of holds and stuff. So that's usually how I practice my posing. But to that intensity with Flex, no, you can't do that by yourself.
You need someone to crack the whip.
Yeah. Fuck they're doing. You can't do that by yourself.
But I like the idea that it stays with you. There's a lot of things that I think as young bodybuilders, well, I mean, I speak for myself, I guess, but there was a lot of things I did when I was younger that, looking back had no root in, the science or anything, but we just did them because we knew they were brutal things to do and they'd make you tougher. Yeah. And then that stays with you. And then when you run into challenges later on, you don't necessarily need to have been doing that thing, but you can just draw on it. You know, like, oh, this is just like the garage, man. I just got to suck this up. Yep. And you just pull from it. And I think that that's really important. And And I think that there's a lot of things that, you know, a young bodybuilders should be doing just because they're hard. And, and then later when they get, you know, if they, you know, assuming they get to your level, they can be more specific about what they're doing and, you know, that sort of thing. So we talk about that a lot on the show. So I'm glad that came up.
So who do you have sponsoring you now? I know you mentioned that before you're with Gas, but what is your current sponsorship situation?
With Celsius right now, I'm with Long Life Meal Prep. If you guys are familiar with Don Long, they're based off China. Zero to Hero is a Korean company. They make the wrist wraps, the belts, and bags and stuff. Freedom, they're based off in Korea. Me and Samson both sponsor with them. They're based off in Korea. And Yamamoto Nutrition. And Elevate Foods, the cream and rice bags.
Just a couple, just a few.
Yeah, just a little. I think we covered almost. I asked for listener questions, see if anybody had anything good. I think we covered almost all of these. Really, I'm not going to ask you tips for bigger hamstrings because I don't care what you have to say. It's not going to grow my hamstrings.
Don't train them for 10 years, then do them for 2.
But hey, I will ask you this one though, because I know that you're a year-round guy. That you got your focus in, and you're really. I've heard you say like you don't really take breaks from bodybuilding. So I wanted to ask you this one. We talk a little bit about that. Best advice to make good progress in the off season.
Best advice. Do your cardio for one. One thing I learned was that what put me in the best position for this prep was I kept cardioing the whole entire time. I did 30 minutes every single day. And that's just the little things. I know some people, a lot of like, I guess, amateur brains thinks like, oh, if I do cardio in the off season, I'm going to lose weight or I got to eat more food to make up for, you know, I've been down that road. I'm sure we all have before. But like, I think cardio is probably like the number one thing to keep in. And that's the best advice I can give, especially for the off season. Stick to the plan, stick to the diet, man. Don't eat a bunch of bullshit. Just stick to the plan. Coach got you, man. I mean, if you treat your off season just like prep, I promise your prep will be so much successful.
Yeah. I've heard
go ahead, Scott.
Go ahead, Ron.
I was just gonna say, if you go out for like, let's say it's like celebration meal, like, you know, big celebration meal, going out with some friends, what would you order?
Just a burger, and fries. I'm not even a sweet guy because by the time I finish the burger and fries, I'm full. I have a small stomach, man. Mentally, I feel like I can eat a lot. But in real life, I can't. I can't. I'm just not a huge eater. I'm lame.
Well, where would it go? You got a 12-inch waist.
Yeah, there's no stomach down there.
Yeah, I guess we discovered the reason why you don't need much food. There's no room for it.
Yeah, I think over time, just not eating much food for bodybuilding because of that, I think that's the reason why I'm not a huge eater. And don't get me wrong, you know, post-show, you know, I can throw down food, but I can only do that for a couple of days. After that, it goes down to shit. You know, I don't have the appetite no more. I just always been that way. I'm not a huge eater, but burger and fries, I go to.
I like that
I feel
answer.
like this kind of stuff is, I hope that the listeners are hearing, because like we were talking about before about when you were natural and people didn't believe you. These are the kind of things that I think people need to understand when it comes to genetics. And it's like, you're someone who is not eating as much food as people would think, and that allows you to be at your best. But then on the flip, you got someone like Jay who was like, oh, I was doing 1,000 grams of carbs a day, and that allowed him to be at his best. And I feel like sometimes people, they just assume that anything that's out of the ordinary has to be a lie.
There's no right or wrong to do this thing. You just got to do what's best for your fucking body. And you just got to find out. And I know people see people like myself and other freaks and be like, they think of this, but it's really the opposite of that. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm glad that we are able to you know, talk about this, because a lot of people should definitely take something from this. You know, you got to do what works best for you. You can't eat the amount of food that I eat the last week and look like you're full as a house. You know,
right?
You can't. You got to do what works for you.
Yeah.
I think the problem is so many people don't stick to a program long enough to find out if it does or does not work for them. And like you said, what you were doing with your training in the past, what you're doing with it now, what you're doing with your eating in the past, what you're doing now. You're doing 7 meals that were just, almost a keto style. Now it's something very different. I think it's important that people understand that the way that you were able to learn these things was you did them, you ran them, and then you took away what was good, what was bad, and moved on. And kind of, obviously you did it quickly because you haven't been at it very long and you've made some huge strides. But I mean, it's key that, like you said, when you're in your off season or your prep, you're on. I already know without asking that your Olympia prep started the day after the Olympia, even including your meals. You're not going off the Richter because you got a Keon to beat in a year.
Yeah, 100%.
How many pounds do you think you can actually put on? Do you have a goal? Are you thinking like that?
Like for the off season or to compete next year?
Yeah, like, you said you had a lot of room under your cap. So what are you kind of thinking is realistic for next year?
Well, I was 199 and 23, 201. It's probably like 203, maybe 204.
Right.
The difference,
chipping away.
I have a lot of travel this year. So last year, I didn't travel as much after Olympia because I really wanted to separate myself from a lot of people. So I did say no to a lot of things, but I said yes to some very important things as well that I felt like that could help my fan base. Like I went to Korea and stuff like that, and that was cool, and Italy. But this year I have a lot more traveling, so I have to maneuver around a little bit more with this improvement season, and so I can stay on track and at least try to make, I probably won't make as much of a crazy jump progress like I did last year, but still make enough progress. You can see it, so hopefully like 203, 204. I think that'll be very realistic for me. I mean, I don't get that heavy in the off season. The heaviest I've been was 230. That was last year.
Damn. Okay.
That's
I had a
wild.
question here. I saw that you got a new tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got the forearm done, right?
Yeah. It's peeling. Look the best right now, but it's a bunch of roses.
Nice. Do you have any plans for another one?
No, I'm done getting tattoos.
Dusty said that once.
Yeah.
No. That's where, see, Keon, what I did is when I realized I needed to stop bodybuilding, I put tattoos on my body that I knew would make me, it wouldn't work anymore. I was like, all right, if we completely cover these delts with really dark tattoos, they will never look as round as they used to look.
Right. Blocked himself. He blocked himself from doing master shows is what Dusty did.
Yeah, no more tattoos. I'm done with those.
That's great.
When's the wedding?
We actually right now planning it. I'm actually taking to Hawaii after our business trip in Korea. From Korea, we're going straight to Honolulu, so we'll be there for a week. So we're actually going to planning our wedding then. But we're already looking at a couple of places now to see where we want to go. Just trying to find out, organize a planner and stuff. So yeah, it's a process. I'm sure you guys know. So
have you been to Honolulu before?
Never been to Hawaii. It's the first time.
Oh man. My favorite part, I did the helicopter tour of Oahu, and that was like the highlight of my whole trip. I don't know if you've been in helicopters before, but like I loved it. I thought that was just nuts. I would have done that again right away. So yeah.
I'm not helicopters. I was on a helicopter with Gasp, and it was me, Branch, Ben Chow. I think it's like a certain amount of weight that can actually be on the helicopter. I was pretty scared for my life. I'm not gonna lie. These are big, talking like almost 300 pounds. This is when Ben Chow was still bodybuilding. So that was my first and last time doing that.
Okay. Well, enjoy your trip. We thank you very much for coming on, man. You gave us a full hour of your time. I mean, it's just awesome to have you on, champ.
Oh wow, I didn't know it's been an hour. That's awesome.
Yeah, we always feel bad when we drag people past an hour. Like, this guy's got things to do.
He's a champion. He's got to go.
You guys talk to me till I have my second meal, so that's perfect.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, man. We love having guests on. We don't have guests all the time. To be honest, it's hard to get people. Like, a lot of people aren't that organized, and a lot of people can't be on. Like they cancel at the last minute, or they want to reschedule or something. It's hard. So we quite often just don't do guests. And to have a guest like you, like an Olympia champ on, is is fantastic. You know,
I got to share the story with the fans real quick about Keon, because this is important when you're coming up. So what was it? Maybe 2 or 3 weeks out from the Olympia, I messaged Keon and said, "Hey man, you know, I'd love to have you on after the show. Obviously, I know you got business to attend to currently." And he answered right back, and he was like, "I'll be in." I was like, "That's great." So I marked it, didn't say anything. About a week and a half after the Olympia, I shoot him a message. I said, "Hey, you still good to go to be on the show? We do it Mondays, 1:30 Eastern. Any Monday you want to go." He sends back like instantly, "Absolutely." Then he screenshots the previous conversation where he said he would get on, sends that back to me, and he's like, "I told you I'd be on." And that was, what, 4 days ago? So when we're talking about guys who will blow us off or whatever, there is something nice that somebody who understands, even as you're coming up, Keon, that like you're at the top and your word still has huge value. And I mean, I know you know this, but some of these guys listening don't understand. Once you lose your word in this industry, you got nothing. So we really appreciate that, man. And it was awesome. And I knew that would be the case, but it was still awesome to see it.
Thank you, man. It's very humbling to be on this podcast. Me and my fiance watch it all the time. So
no way.
Yeah. I see Amanda commenting once in a while. I love it. I'm like, oh man, Amanda's here, but I didn't know you were here with her.
Yeah, we watch all of them, man. So I enjoy them, man. Especially eating my meals. It definitely get me through it. So nice. I appreciate you. Keep it going, man. And yeah, get these guest ons, man. I mean, some people try to act too famous. And I know a lot of these guys see these messages and may not want to respond, but we see them, and I get tons of messages and requests. Trust me. But I see these, but I respond because I like to be the man of my word, and you know, this is what helps bodybuilding. This is what helps the IFBB. Just me being on here, I think it's helping the 212 division because I'm speaking on a division. So this stuff helps. So you guys that's watching this, any top pros, get on these podcasts, speak up for your division, talk, tell your stories, man, because people want to hear these. They want to hear them.
Absolutely. I'm often blown away by, you know, like we've done over 300 episodes now, so we often just do them and put them up and go about our day, right? But then I go to the gym later that day and people are coming up to me like, "Oh man, that episode was great. You guys said this and it really made me think," or "This guest, man, I couldn't believe how cool he was." And like, you realize you're like, oh, this does have like a massive ripple effect on people. Like, you know, there's gonna be a whole bunch of people that hear you speak for the first time. Maybe they didn't see you on, you know, the Cutler cast or whatever, and they just saw you on here, and now they're like, oh, Keon's in their mind now a lot more. And so I hope it just keeps snowballing.
Yeah, definitely, man. So thank you for having me, and I'm always, you know, open to get on a podcast. Not even talking about me, but shoot the shit with other people and talk. You know, I watch bodybuilding. I follow bodybuilding pretty heavy, so I'm always open to get on if you guys want an extra guest.
Oh, that'd be awesome, man. Break down a show or something. Keon. That'd be cool. Get your opinions.
Well, yeah, we're really, really looking forward to seeing you on stage again because, like we said on the show before, we think you might possibly have the best structure ever. And then that's saying a lot. There's been some amazing structures come along, but I'm just looking at what you put on stage this year, and like you said, you want to create this incredible distance, and I don't see that being a problem. So keep busting your ass and train smart. I heard you got a good trainer. And yeah, man, it's the year of the wives.
Yeah.
Yes. I love it.
Hey? Okay. Have a good one, man. Thanks, Keon.
Appreciate you.
Keone Pearson,
thanks,
everybody.
Brother.
Two-time 212 Olympia champ.
Oh, that was cool. See if I can get us organized here.
Yeah, this is a mess. Also a mess.
Oh, there we go.
I only operate in one spot. If I move even in my picture, I'm like, oh, that's not where I go.
That was great. Good. We got an hour from Keon. I always feel bad when we drag people to hour quarter. I feel like that's a little much for the average guy volunteering. So thanks very much to Keon. I know we get greedy and just like keep talking, but
Yeah,
I didn't even realize this is an hour, honestly. So I'm glad you were keeping an eye on the clock.
Yeah. So I'm sitting here. I know this will be old news by the time it comes out. I just see they've dropped the bomb on Instagram. CBum has entered the Prague Open.
What? My dreams have come true.
There you go. In real time.
Dreams do come true. Yes.
C-Bum and the EVLS Prague Pro official have officially broken Instagram today with the announcement.
I told you so. I told you so. I told you so. All of you. This is going to be the best ever. I can't wait to see this, honestly. And
look how happy Scott is. I just didn't expect this.
I'm telling you. I mean, really, it's a little bit different than my plan. Chris, if you're watching, you know what my plan was, bro. We were going to hit the offseason really hard, gas you up like you never had been before, hit you to 300, and then we were going to bring you down nice and tight, you know? But this is a good second plan, so I'm happy for you.
To work with this.
Yes, we'll work with this.
Oh, the comments are fire. Daddy is coming to Prague. You know?
I can't wait though to see. It'll be fun to see how does he stack up against, you know, the open guys that show up. And man, I feel bad for some of them.
To grow, so he's put on 20 pounds. And
did you see the picture he put up the other day?
Dude, I did. Yes.
So he put this picture up the other day, right?
Oh yeah.
Ring light in the way. So I immediately text Ian. Because I knew like C-Bum does get back to me, but he's busy. But I thought I'll text Ian. I text Ian, what is C-Bum weighing in that photo? That's all I said because I knew he'd know what I meant.
Yeah.
And he hits me back like 2 minutes later, mid 250s.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. Okay.
I know what's happening here.
I know what's happening. I wonder. And I showed it to Emily.
Maybe somebody saw $600,000 on a screen.
Yeah. And I immediately said, hey, Emily, look at this. 250 something. And she goes, And that was all we said. We just moved on with our day.
This would be fun, man. It's kind of like if you just won the race, but you're still in the car. You know, you get the gas tank is still half full. You know, we can take it back out. You know, we can take it back out.
Guest posing.
Yeah.
There's another race right away. I mean,
right. You get in here. Yeah. Exactly.
That's a riot. Wow, that's exciting. A lot of stuff going on.
That's cool. That's like so cool for bodybuilding in general, you know?
Yeah. That's bonkers. Yeah. So speaking of things, I would like to piss off my favorite fan of the show and talk about Ron and his, what's the word I'm looking for? Fiance publicly here without even asking him if I could do that. So everyone, Ron is officially engaged. Last Wednesday. I love that. Yes. So we had to do a little congrats. I mean, I had to publicly let a bunch of people know Ron's personal business and get it rolling out there. So there we go.
Yeah, Dusty knew since about February.
Yeah.
That I was going to happen because Dusty got married in January.
Yeah,
and we saw him in Vegas, and we went for dinner and everything. And then after I saw Nikki's ring, I'd already been thinking it's been brewing for a while because Emily and I've been together a long time. I won't give you the ins and outs. We've been together a long time, and we've joked about, hey, if we don't get married, we won't have to get divorced. The whole joke, right? Like, hey, look how good we're doing, and all these other people are having all these problems. Let's just not fuck with it,
Right.
That was our you know what I mean? And so we've had that joke going for a while, but I said to Dusty, I'm like, oh, I need to learn about rings. And Dusty was like, oh, well, I have a guy.
He happened to know a guy who's bought 3 of them, and he thought, I know who that is.
He's got a lot of experience.
So, of course, I go down the rabbit hole, and I start watching YouTube videos on everything. I start just learning as much as I can, and then I can't stop going down the rabbit hole, and I research and research and research. And, and then eventually made it happen. I wanted to get it done this year, buddy.
That was classic. I felt like, I was like, I think the one good thing that came to the table on our wedding that I hoped that Ron saw is there's no fucking rules. Do whatever you want, however you want, with the wedding, with the engagement. Who gives it? Because I feel like that's the area where a lot of people, in my opinion, lose out.
You're right.
Is because they follow the rules of what you're supposed to do if you're going to do these things and how. And, we bucked the system completely. And I just feel like that is, that was right for us, and you should do whatever's right for you. But I don't think a lot of people do. I mean, my first wedding, I was meeting people at the wedding. I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Why are you here?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, Victoria and I had 3 guests each. Like, she had 3 people. I had 3 people. They flew in last minute, and we got married in this like pretty little greenhouse. And it was just a real small thing, you know. And we're so glad we did it that way for us, because it's like, you know, we got to spend the time together versus, you know, when you're in like a big party.
I gotta go see Aunt Jill, Aunt Jill, and I gotta
you don't even get to see each other.
Yeah.
We wanted to make sure we still had time for each other that day, and we were happy with how it went for us.
I think that I have such a anti-traditional, like, there's so many things about what everybody else does with their life that I'm annoyed by.
shocking.
That
Like mayonnaise, for instance. Like mayonnaise.
like
sandwiches.
and soups. There's all sorts of things that other people do. I'm like, oh, I don't want any part of that. And I think that I was always just kind of all that stuff that you're supposed to do. I just always had this claustrophobia about it.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was a good little reminder. I'm getting older too, you know, I'm coming up. And I thought, you know, I'm probably going to die before her. So why don't we just get this over with? So no, it was good. The main thing was I wanted to surprise the shit out of her. I didn't want to give it away. And we're like how Keon was just saying, they're just homebodies. They hang out with the dogs and watch movies and stuff. I knew if I did something weird, she'd be like, oh.
You like put on a nice outfit.
What are you doing?
You know, yeah.
Yeah, like even when we go for dinner sometimes, it's like she gets a band shirt and a pair of jeans if I'm like feeling like dressing up. Right?
Okay.
Getting wild with it.
And yeah, like if I put on a Black Sabbath t-shirt, I'm like, oh, you're going out. So I didn't want to give anything away by like, you know, triggering like, hey, we should go downtown and try a nice steakhouse. She'd be like,
she's like, you hate going downtown.
yeah, what are you talking about? She'd be like, yeah, like, you know? So I managed to surprise, like, I almost gave her a heart attack. She was just
How'd you do it?
away. Well, I didn't get into details, you know.
Oh, no.
But you know, it's for us. It's
Okay.
for us.
Okay.
They were naked.
Let's just say I did.
Oh man.
Oh goodness. No, but let's just say that she wasn't expecting it, and yeah, it was great, and she's super happy, and now we know that I think the rule I read is you have half as much time as it took to get engaged to get married. So we got like
a lot of time,
like 6-year cushion, you know. So by the time I'm 55, we should get this thing tied up.
There you go.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So I had to bring that up, and then I had one more thing to cover before we cut out here, because it's been bothering me since the Olympia, and it peaked at the concert the other night. And this thing is, I feel like we need to have etiquette classes for events. For example, you're at the Olympia. Chris Bumstead's on stage. It is not time to stand up and get out of your seat and walk across 7 people where they all have to stand up in front of the guy. At the Olympia, I wanted to choke the people in front of us. I know.
Yeah, the people in front of me, I heard you.
I actually said to Nikki, if this guy gets up one more time, I'm telling him to sit down.
Yes.
Because it was like up and down, and I'm like, drove me nuts. So
yeah, the guy in our row at the Olympia.
Yes.
He got up.
Tight ass pants.
He got up, what, 5 times?
Yes.
Okay.
Go get a drink or something? Like, dude, you're hammered enough.
Yeah.
Just fucking sit there.
Yeah.
Like, that would be an expensive night, because we spent like $44 on 2 Fiji waters and some M&Ms. So I can only imagine what a drink would have cost. You know what I'm saying?
Like, dude. And then I went to a bodybuilding show yesterday. And it was a Sunday show, regional show. And I had one client in the show. And I'm sitting there. And I'm just waiting for him to come on. And he comes on for his posing routine. 3 people come in and one in the row in front of me. Everyone stands up.
See?
And I'm like, are you kidding me? I've been sitting here through this show waiting for my client, and the second he walks on for his routine, the whole row in front of me stands up. Excuse me, pardon me, excuse me, pardon me, excuse me, pardon me, excuse me, pardon me, excuse me, pardon me. And then they all sit down, and he's like got 15 seconds of his routine left.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, like it, I hate that. So have some etiquette. Wait till there's a break in the action. Wait till
some places make you have a break. That's a thing at like bigger events. You got to walk in the door. They're like, whoa, no.
We got to wait.
You can't go down until there's a pause. Yep.
Yeah, they wait. Whoever's talking is done, and then they'll let people in the doors. Or you go to a play and you're late, they don't even let you in.
Yeah.
They go, I'm sorry, Act 1 has begun.
Yeah, you're done.
And they make you stand there, and in Act 2 they let you in, and you miss Act 1. So you better be ready to stand in the lobby for 35 minutes.
Oh, Ron could not handle that. Ron, could you handle going to an event and a show and missing the first act?
He wouldn't miss the first part. He's not an asshole.
Wouldn't miss the first part.
But what if the cab was late?
I know that's just how it goes, though, man. Like, but that's how they are. But so I'm not saying you can't get up and go get a drink, but wait till there's a break. Like, wait till there's.
That guy's just got done with his routine. He's walking off. Bounce right now.
Yeah,
quick.
you can bounce now. You got that little window before someone else comes on to do the routine.
It was that guy. It was right when they announced Chris, and I think Nikki was filming it too. And it was our row. Some guy walked in like right as they were saying, and new or and still Chris Bumstead. And it was like, okay, excuse me, pardon me.
So there was the peak though was at the concert because we're sitting there. Now this is a big fundraising concert, which by the way, I got to give a quick background, even though I did the post in case people missed it. So 28 days before the show, a few guys from the Carolinas that are singers decide they need to put on a show to create some money for people who lost everything to the Hurricane Helene. And they put together an entire show in 28 days, getting their acts, building the whole bit, all the way down to the guy who owns the Panthers, the Carolina Panthers, gave them the venue for free for the event and said everything that's purchased, beer, alcohol, food, parking off-site, all of that I'm also covering. So it's pure profit for this event. So like he paid for the beer, the cost, and then they bet on top of it. So they raised $24.5 million in 6 hours.
That's crazy.
It was bananas. But so we're sitting there, and a lot of the acts are sharing kind of their connection to Carolina, why they decided to be a part of this. So as one of them, Eric Church, is talking, there's these belligerently drunk girls behind us.
So, Sarah, what do you want to do on the weekend? I was thinking about maybe, I love Eric Church. We listened to him for 4 hours yet.
We can't hear him. So I'm like, being me, I'm like, you can't do it, Dusty. They're just women. So I kind of just shout out forward. Would be really nice if you would be quiet, thinking it would work. Doesn't work. To my great happiness.
We paid for our tickets.
Nikki became me and turned around and goes, you're gonna have to keep it down. You're so loud and annoying. I can't hear what we donated to come watch. And I just watched 6 women shrink in size, apologize, and shut up.
Oh,
and I was like,
fantastic.
I was like,
she did something you couldn't do. If you did that, it would have looked bad.
It would have been terrible. But it just felt so good to see it. And it was like, she did it very, in a way that, because if you turn around and go, you stupid bitch, now you're wrong.
Right.
Yeah. But if you just make it very obvious that this is, and I was just so proud and I was happy because I could hear again. And so that was the end of my reasoning of why people need to pipe down. Like, why do we go to shows? I don't understand the reason to go to an event, which is already fun. And they go, the only way this will be fun is if I get completely hammered
and talk,
puke all over the place, talk the whole time. You know what I mean? I'm like, what is happening? So that was
I know it was mostly a country concert you went to, which is cool. I mean, I'm not a country guy, but Sheryl Crow was there. How was Sheryl Crow?
Sheryl Crow is awesome, and she's 62 years old.
She's awesome. I love Sheryl Crow.
Yeah, just rolled in, and the show was awesome. Plus, the coolest part was
Cheryl Crow's on my list, and Emily knows it. Okay, go ahead.
You're kidding.
You were right there. So, how about this though? Every act except for the final act.
You got a pretty popular podcast.
According to Scott, you guys are pretty close in age.
Let's make a reel out of this. Yeah. Let's get a reel out of this. Let's get a YouTube short.
I can feel this. We'll tag her on this one. But what was great was so they all came out just with a guitar, except for the final act. So she literally did her whole set with just a guitar, which was awesome.
Yeah.
And then she had a fake kick drum that she used for one song, just that she would just tap on it. It actually sounded like a kick drum rolling through. It was great. Nice. But yeah, it was a pretty sick night. Minus, I want to say minus those people, but they kind of added to the memory.
Oh yeah, that seems like a plus. That seems like
it became one
net plus.
Yeah,
net benefit, because you got to see your wife. You got to see your wife grow.
Oh yeah, I've seen her yell at the cars recently too. So a lot of things are rubbing off now. It's good. It's good. All right. That's my proud moment and my please stop standing up during anything Chris Bumstead does. When he does the pro show next week or whatever, no one stand up anywhere near him.
Yeah, sit the fuck down.
Unless it's part of innovation. Then you
and then
do
stand
that.
the fuck up. Get up. Yeah.
It's time. It's time. It's your moment.
Everybody get on board with this.
Yeah.
I know. Okay. I know. I'm happy. Okay. Well, that was good. It was a good show.
We didn't even do an intro, by the way, so maybe we should do an exit.
We did a little bit. Yeah, we did. And we got right to Keon. I felt bad with Keon there. I didn't, just want to get to Keon.
Yeah.
So let's make sure we do everything properly. Okay. Thanks for watching again. Remember, like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe, comment, and
ring the bell.
There you go. Thanks, everybody. And remember, IamMutant.com. Go to IamMutant. Dusty and Big Ron are the two codes you can use. No numbers. The new codes.
So weird with that number. I feel like I'm gonna probably ask him to add like a number like 05 just from like when Mutant started, because I liked the flow of Dusty 05.
I know it's hard to say Dusty
20.
Big Ron.
And if you do that, then Ron, you should get like 10 added. You know what I mean? Because I would probably use a discount code that said 10 instead of 05 personally.
What if we get a discount code Dusty Big Ron and then we split the difference?
There we go.
One code.
See, there's gotta be,
it's
just one. Genius.
Yeah. Okay.
You can have all the Canadian money.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Thanks. That's awesome. And remember the Think Big Patreon. Keep your producer home. Hit the Patreon. If you're not a Patreon subscriber, you want to be, because it's cool.
All the cool kids are doing it.
Yeah, and then get a T-shirt. I saw so many shirts at the Olympia, and I've seen a bunch of shirts at my gym. So, like, we don't pump the shirts enough, but you got to get a shirt. Well, I love seeing the shirts. I had a few people say, your face looks weird on the shirt if you look at it real close. And I'm like, I know.
Yeah, you can't look at any of the faces real close. Just look at it
Mine
as
is
just
a perfect representation of me, because that's exactly what I actually look like.
Dusty's tattoo is like kind of weird and stuff. It looks like his arm's just gray in one spot.
Just put like, the Gold's Gym guy just has like a generic robot face. Just do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks everybody for everything, and thanks to Keon again for coming on. And remember, it's just bodybuilding.